All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually have a legendary, iconic producer. This individual has multi-platinum plaques all over the place within the hip-hop community. We got the one and only Shorty B right here, live on the line. How are you doing this evening, Shorty?
Man, God bless you and all your fans, man. I appreciate you having me on. How you doing, DJ?
I'm doing best I could possibly be down here, man. We're still on a lockdown down here in Canada. We got a big snowstorm coming our way, so it's definitely cuddling up on the couch type of weekend, man. It's been super cold in a snowstorm.
Right, right. It just snowed here about an hour ago. Got about 2 inches, something like that. Mm-hmm.
But I know you're a busy guy, Shorty, so I'm going to dive right into this broadcast. But I want to take you back to the beginning of your iconic career, and I have to ask, what actually made you decide to get into the music industry initially, man? Because when you actually sit back and listen to the music that you produced and everything you've done, it just sounds so natural.
Man, I gotta say it's definitely organic, man. It started around 6 or 7 years old, man. I got to listen to the Isley Brothers, the Staple Singers, and Funkadelic, and I don't know, man. Just like one day, I caught myself standing in the mirror and with the broom, and I used to, every now and then I get a chance to see these guys, and I figured like I had all the moves with just the broom. So, a couple of years later, I got my hands on a real guitar, and it was on and cracking. Then I was definitely hooked.
And also, as well, I actually read that in the early 1980s, you were actually a part of the go-go scene as a part of the group Hot Cold Sweat. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about that experience, and of course, how did that group originally come to be?
Well, there was a lot of go-go bands around the DMV at the time, especially in Maryland and D.C. And all my friends, well, a lot of them were musicians. And I was in one band or another at one period of time or another. I would always find myself playing with a bunch of guys somewhere. But like my homeboy, one of my closest friends, his name is Tino. God rest his soul. He passed about 2 years ago. But one of my best friends, Tino, who's the guitar player with EU, and we used to play all the time. And I used to go to and hang out with him and Sugar Bear when they would play. I would go with him. And then for some reason, somebody had told me that this group that didn't live too far from me, I was staying in Palmer Park, Maryland, Sugar Ray Leonard home, and this guy named Charlie, who actually was the leader of the band. It was his band, Hot Cold Sweat. And somebody introduced me to Charlie, and I went over there for an audition, and I got the job right away. And I played with Hot Cold Sweat maybe about a year.
And I got to ask as well, like, what actually made you transition from the go-go scene into hip-hop? Because I got to say, go-go was one of the biggest things actually out there back in the 1980s.
I don't know, man. It's like I noticed something when I was young. You know what I'm saying? I noticed that go-go was real popular in the DMV. But I would go, with, Sugar Bear and Tino and them, sometimes the gigs with them and other bands. And I noticed that people didn't really much know who these bands were. When 30, 40 miles out, nobody knew who you were. So I knew that for some reason, I just felt like go-go was so regional. It was just part of our neighborhood, and just like the band, as like the bands would play the music, but the audience was just as much as part of the go-go as the band was. So I knew that it was regional. I knew that a lot of people wasn't really going to get it. I don't know why I knew that, but once I saw that when we would go but so far out of town and nobody knew who we were and knew nothing about go-go. So I was watching a commercial in my aunt's basement one day in Palmer Park, Maryland, and on a he's right at the hiccup. And I kept seeing this commercial with Will Chamberlain playing volleyball with a bunch of beautiful women and on the beach. And it's sunny and beautiful. Man, I swear that commercial came on about 7 times, and within the hour. And the seventh time it came on, I say, California. I say, okay, I'm going to California. I had some money at the time, under other circumstances. But I had some money at the time, and so I just caught a cab and went down to the bus station and walked up to the counter, and an old white dude asked me, I said, man, give me a one-way ticket to California. He said, what part of California? I said, any part. He said, how about Oakland? That's how Shorty B, that's how I wound up in Oakland.
And also as well, you are actually a member of the iconic, legendary group Digital Underground, where you actually wrote and produced one of your first rap songs titled Tales of the Funky off the album Sons of the P. I was wondering if you can actually tell us the story behind you first meeting Shock G and, of course, the other members of Digital Underground.
Oh, yeah, that was real interesting. And it's like one day, somebody had been recording at, I think it's called Starlight Studios. That's where Shock G and them was recording at. And they had heard the song I had recorded called Tales of the Funky, which is about Parliament-Funkadelic. All the lyrics are either song titles or band members through the whole song. I wrote every word. And so one day, somebody took me to the Starlight Studio, and I met Shock G. And I can't remember who it was, but he was like, Shorty, he's like, Shock G, you got to hear this song Shorty B wrote. And when I played it for him, man, Shock went crazy. He said, man, I have to have this song on this album. And he was just about to turn the album in within 6 or 7 days, Sons of the P. And so I say, he said, Shorty B, man, I need this song. So we recorded it and laid all the tracks right there in Starlight. And 3 days later, Shock was turning the album in, and I don't know what song he took off the album, but mine got mine was transformed into the new album, which my song come out of nowhere. I came out of nowhere. I'm sure the guys in Digital Underground like, man, who is this dude? You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of talent in Digital Underground. But, you know, Shock is so talented that I don't think many of these guys was getting a chance to get publishing, because I think Shock was basically writing all the Digital Underground. It was his concept. It was his vision. So I don't think they was actually getting a chance to actually get publishing. I don't know. I mean, they might get it for their rhymes or whatnot, but I don't think they was able to actually submit songs. And here I come out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But all the guys were cool. They didn't hate on me or anything. But I just could imagine how that looked to them. But anyway, one day, Shock G, after we recorded the song, Shock G said, man, we doing a show up under the Golden Gate Bridge Sunday. I said, yeah. I said, okay, cool, I'm going with you. So I rode over across the bridge to the Golden Gate Bridge. And when I got there, the opening act for Digital Underground was, you're not going to believe it, it was actually EU from D.C. So when they saw me and I saw them, man, they couldn't believe it. They like, man, you with Digital Underground? Like, yeah, I hooked up with these guys. And so I ended up playing congos that day right up under the Golden Gate Bridge with EU. I did their whole set playing congos because the congo player missed the flight. And then I ended up performing with Digital Underground, who was the headliner. It was a crazy day, man, but I'll never forget it. It was beautiful.
And I do know you had so many legendary encounters with Digital Underground, because you were a part of the group. And as everyone already knows, unfortunately, last year, you know, hip hop lost Shock G. I was wondering, for the listeners that might not, for this generation actually, that might not know exactly who Shock G really is, I was wondering if you can actually just tell our listeners, like, how he was behind the scenes, away from the camera.
Let me tell you, man, Shock was so smart. Shock had come from the school of George Clinton. I think Shock was getting checks from, who was he signed to? Was it Tommy Boy? Was he? I think was he with Tommy Boy? I think it was. Shock was getting checks, man, under names Shock G, Greg Jacobs, Piano Man. He was getting, and the record. I don't think the record company found out for 2 or 3 years that Shock was all these characters. And I don't think they really even knew that Shock was all these characters. These some other names that he had, characters that he had Shock saw his music, visually too. He would know what he wanted to play, but he would see the concept too. Like, he kind of reminded me of George. And one day, I had Michael Hampton with me one day in the Acorn Project, believe it or not. And they were playing at the Warfield in San Francisco. So I went to the gig with Mike and with the fellas, and I told Shock G, I said, man, I'm playing with the Funkadelic tonight in San Francisco. Shock G said, man, you got to introduce me to George Clinton, dog. You got to go. You got to introduce me, Shorty. I said, man, all you got to do is just go with me. You know what I'm saying? So the whole group showed up at the hotel before the show. I introduced him to George, and the rest is history. I introduced Shock G to George Clinton. We was in the hotel room, and I didn't actually have to introduce him because both of them knew who each other was. But you know what I'm saying? I took Shock to George's room, and George, look what I got with me, and it went down just like that.
And also, as well, I do know, aside from Digital Underground, you were actually a part of George Clinton's Funkadelic band. I was just wondering, like, aside from the Digital Underground side of things, what was it like just actually being a part of George Clinton's band? Because I got to say, he also did some phenomenal things for music.
Man, George is family. I've been knowing George, man, since I was about 15 to 16 years old. And he always treated me, just good. But I met George through the band members. I came in through Mike Hampton, Eddie Hazel. You know what I'm saying? Those are my close friends. Mike Hampton was Mike Hampton was about a year and a half older than me. And Eddie Hazel is a little older than both of us. But they become both real close friends of mine. I used to go fishing every day with Eddie Hazel. You know what I'm saying? Mike Hampton, he would jam, or wherever I stay, he'd come stay with me, or I go stay with him and visit him. You know what I'm saying? When he lived in Long Beach, I went up there and hung out with him in a group called Kiddo. And it was an amazing relationship, man. You know what I'm saying? Just to actually be a part of that. But that's basically how it materialized. I met George through the band members. And me and George just meshed like overnight. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, all my respect and everything for him. But he gravitated to me as well. We've always been cool to this very day.
And also, while we're still on the topic of George Clinton, I actually read that yourself and Eazy, alongside George Clinton, were actually a part of the iconic Arsenio Hall show. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about that experience, and of course, what was it like being on that show? Because back then, that was actually the only African-American talk show actually on TV.
Well, I wasn't actually on the show. I was at the show. And because I was hanging out with Michael Hampton, and this was my boy and George, and I was just, I was already in LA. So when I found out they was gonna be there, I met them down there. And Eazy-E was backstage, and I think Too Short was there too. I think MC Breed. I think that's the night I met MC Breed, and we was not knowing that we was about to go back to Atlanta, where Breed lived, but it was a very interesting situation, because all of a sudden now I'm behind the parking lot of Arsenio Hall, standing in the hallway talking to everybody. I'm standing there next to Eazy-E. Eazy-E patting his pockets like, man, I can't find my keys. So I looked over in his car. I said, look, I pointed at the keys in his car. He looked and saw the keys was in the ignition. And I helped Eazy-E break in his car. I held the window back. He somehow got the locks come up, and he got into his car and got his keys. But I helped him break into his car.
And I gotta say as well, like, I gotta say that right there is probably one of the most shittiest things that could ever happen, man, is actually locking your keys in the car. I
know, man,
done it once or twice.
It was. He wasn't happy about it at all.
And I have to ask, man, what was one of your most fondest memories you actually shared with the late, great Eazy? Because I've heard just numerous stories about how much of an amazing individual he actually was just to be around.
I remember, man, we was in Oakland. We was doing Short was having a players ball. I think it was an album. We had just, I think the album just went platinum or something. I think it was a players ball or something we was having. And I got on the elevator, and Eazy-E got on the elevator with a female, and I think me and Michael Hampton got on the elevator because Mike was there that night too, and we got on the elevator and we dapped Eazy-E up like, hey man, Shorty B, like, yeah, I know him. I said, this is Michael Hampton from the Funkadelic. He gave Mike 5 and everything. Yeah, it was cool. I remember that, but he was like he was kind of like I don't want to say excited to meet us, but he was pleased to meet us, shall I say.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, rest in paradise to the late great Eazy, man. Such a phenomenal individual and definitely a legend that will forever be a staple within hip hop.
And it's funny because I used to be around. He used to come around a lot of things that we would like all our record release parties and everything. And I never really ever had a really good conversation with Eazy, but we always acknowledged each other whenever we was in the same room. He give me a nod. What's up, Shorty B? What's up, E? You know what I'm saying? But I never had a conversation with Eazy-E. But but we had a relationship, but we didn't have a relationship. You know what I'm saying? It was like a respect thing, I guess. I don't, he was always there. Hey, he would always wave at me if he saw me. And I saw him. What's up, E? What's up, Shorty B? That was it.
And also, as well, I actually read that in the 90s, you were one of the few individuals that actually worked with both Death Row Records and Bad Boy Records during the very unfortunate East Coast West Coast beef. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a story behind that, and of course, what was that experience like actually working for both labels around that time?
Man, let me tell you something, man. I remember me and Too Short, we had a studio in Atlanta. And one day at the studio, Puff Daddy came through. And Short say, hey, man, Short came to the studio room I was working in our studio. He said, hey, man, Puffy here. They want to hear some beats for Little Kim. I'm like, oh, yeah? So I played about 9 or 10 songs. They liked all the songs. And the last song I played was Call Me, which ended up on the Booty Call soundtrack, Too Short and Little Kim. And when I played that song, Puff Daddy got to jump around. That's it. That's it. That's it. Oh, she got to hear that right there. So the next day, I spent the night at Too Short house that night. The next morning, the doorbell's ringing. Ding dong, ding dong. So I hit the intercom. I say, Short, somebody at the door. He said, man, get it for me. When I open the door, it's Biggie. He got a cane. I guess he had just had that accident with his leg with him and Lil Steve or something. I opened the door. I said, oh, man, what's up, Biggie? He said, man, what's up, B? I said, man, he said, sure here. I said, yeah, come on in, man. So him and the guy that Lil Kim didn't snitch on, Dame or something like that, he was with Biggie that day. They walked in. I let him in. And both of them was really cool, man. And I sat and talked to Big. The show came up and said, yeah, man, they want to hear some of them beats that Puff heard yesterday, they were saying. I like, yeah, man, we're going back to the studio, and I play, them beats. So I did the same thing that I did when Puff was there. And actually, Puff ended up showing up again at the studio with me, Short and Big, and I guess his homeboy was named Dame or something like that. But so Big heard the beat. He like, that's it right there, okay. So Puff said, all right, look, that's the deal. But that's the beat we want. But we want to fly you out to New York and tomorrow, and we're going to lay the beat, and we get our business done. So I think 2 days later, we flew to New York, plus flew me, Too Short, and the homeboy P.O. Put us all three in lavish hotel rooms, man, with the TV come up out the bed, at the foot of the bed. I mean, hotel lavish, man. So when I go to the studio, I see Big. Big say, what's up, Shorty B? I say, what's up, Big? So I noticed Big had this diamond ring on his pinky. I'm like, man, Big, let me see that ring. He took it off, and I put it on, right? And I'm looking at the ring. I'm like, man, this is nice, man. You know what I'm saying? So Big say, Shorty B, you bring that weed that I told you to bring? I like, yeah, you know I did. So I gave him some weed that he asked me to bring for me. But then when I sat at the console, when I went to hand him the weed, he put out a big old jar of weed, right? I like, damn, Big, you don't need this. He said, I need that too. So Big say, he he was like talking to himself. So I thought he was on the phone. I said, oh, excuse me. He said, no. I'm just writing my rhyme. I'm like, you writing your rhyme? You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't never seen nobody write a rhyme without no pencil or paper. But I watched him sit there and write that rhyme in his head. And it took him about 5 minutes. He said, okay, Shorty B, I'm finished. I said, so you got your verse, you ready to go? He said, yeah, I'm finished. I just had to finish writing. And I never forget that with Big. He was real cool. But let me tell you what happened. So we stayed out there. I recorded the song. I think we stayed in New York about 4 days or something. So we fly home. Me, Too Short, we fly to Atlanta. We all live in Atlanta. So we get in about midnight that night. It must have been a Saturday night or something like that, Friday night. So I go to bed. I get to my crib. I lay down. About 9 o'clock in the morning, the phone ringing. Ring, 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 ring. Ring, ring, ring. I look at the phone number. The call ID is 770. I'm like, who is this? Somebody in Atlanta. So when I pick up the phone, I say hello, and it's Tupac. He like, hey, but he don't recognize my voice. Pac say, is Shorty B there? I look at the phone. I like, Pop. He like, yeah. I like, oh man, where you at? I said, man, you out, man? I said, where you at? He said, yeah, you at your mama's house? He said, yeah. I said, man, he said, man, I'm on. I said, let me get dressed, dog. I'm on my way. I hung up the phone. I never forget this. I hung up the phone. I went to the bathroom, took a leak. The phone ring again. When I pick up the phone, I say, hello, it's Big. Big say, Shorty B. I like, what's up, Big? It's tripping me out because Pac just hung up the phone with Pac. And Big called me like 3 minutes later. I say, what's up, Big? He said, oh, man, I was just calling, man, to see if you and Too Short wanted to come back out here, man. Because they throwing Mary J. Blige's birthday party and wanted to know if y'all want to go. You with us? I pick you up, with a limo from the airport. I say, look, Big, check this out. Let me call Short. Make sure we don't have any obligations, and I call you back. So I call Short. I say, Short, man, you're not going to believe this, man. Pac just called me, and 3 minutes later, Big called me. I say, he said, you tell Pac? I said, I ain't say nothing to either one of them about either one of them. So I say, Big is asking me to ask you, do you want to come back out there? He want to pick us up from the airport, hang out with him, and go to a Mary J. Blige party. Short say, nah, I don't think I'm going to go. So I'm thinking in my mind, I like, okay, I think Puff is really on me with these beats because he was really feeling my beats, right? And but this is the only thing in life that I think that Short ever said to me that was real like this. Short say, man, I don't think I'm gonna go. You know what I'm saying? I like, man, I might go back out there and hang out with you know what I'm saying, with Big and them, man. See, because I'm thinking money, because I ain't really getting none over here with Too Short. So, but I know, but Puff, when he heard my music, his eyes lit up. So I say, yeah, I think I might go out there and mess with him, Big. So Too Short say, you sure you want to do that? I say, yeah, I guess so. Why? He say, what if they find out you like Pac uncle or something? And it blew my mind, dog. The DJ blew my mind. When I thought of that, I didn't think of that. Because, I am really, really close to Pac. You know what I'm saying? And I like, damn, when he said that, I said, whoa. I like, yeah, Short, you got a point there. I ain't think of that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't think it could be some faultiness, you know what I'm saying, in this phone call, but you got to be alert. That's the realest thing Short ever said to me in his life was when he told me that. And so I called Big back. I say, Big, look, man, don't look like we going to be able to make it because, we got some other obligations, man, but maybe we'll catch you on the next one. But, stay in touch. That was the last time I ever talked to Big, that conversation right there. Boom, I hung up the phone. Phone ring again. It's Pac. Pac say, Shorty B. He said, I said, what up, Pac? He said, man, bring all the weed you got. That's what he said. I said, I'm on my way, nephew. And when I went over there, I knocked on a Feeney door. And when I knocked on the door, when the door opened, it was Jasmine Guy. He opened the door. Her hair was all over the place, dog. So I teased her a little bit. I like, oh, yeah, my nephew home in a real way. She started laughing. We all started laughing. And I went in there and sat down with Pop, man. He hugged me. He was glad to see me. I was glad to see him, of course, you know what I'm saying? And Pac he played all those records that he had did over the last couple of days with Death Row. But he played one song called I'd Rather Be Your Nigga. And when I heard it, I say, hold up, Pop. I said, stop. Let me run to the car. I ran out to the car and got my CD. I had a CD, and I just recorded Getting It with George Clinton and Too Short. And reason I'm telling you this because I'd Rather Be Your Nigga. It's like it's an old Boosie song. And I flipped it, and Pac flipped it. But I said, Pac, I had to go out here and let you hear this because I didn't want you to think that if I didn't let you hear this today, you'd think, if you let me hear your song, I went and did it over. So just to let you know we was on the same page, nigga, this is what I did the other day, too. I said, so we was thinking alike, you know what I'm saying? Because Getting It and I'd Rather Be a Nigga is almost the same song. It's just arranged a little different, but it's basically from the same song. From Boosie, old Boosie song. But that's just a whole story, man. I very seldom ever told anybody. But I never did tell Big, or never did tell Pac about Big calling. They called me like minutes apart. It blew my mind, really.
And I gotta say as well, especially during that time with the animosity between both of those individuals, it probably was best that you just kind of kept it on the down low.
Yeah, I just played it off, man. I couldn't believe it for one reason, you know. And nobody's there but me. I'm looking at the phone, I'm like, man, this is crazy. And then I'm like, am I being punked or something? Because they calling too close apart, man. You know, like one hang up, the other one will call. Then when he hang up, the other one will call back. It blew my mind, man.
And before we move off this topic quickly, the one thing that I have to ask is, hearing that story, when Pac actually heard the similarities between both of those songs you showed him, I have to ask, man, like, what was his reaction when he actually heard the one you actually did with
He loved it. You know what I'm saying? And Pac liked a lot of stuff that I had did with Too Short. You know what I'm saying? But he loved it. And I said, yeah, man, I had to go out to the car and let you hear this because I know this is the only chance I'm going to get to let you know that we was on the same page because I don't want you to think that I heard your song and then went and tried to do Getting It with Too Short. It didn't go down like that. I may have recorded my song the same day you recorded yours in L.A. You know what I'm saying? But he loved it. He really loved it. Yeah.
And also as well, you have actually done some phenomenal production work on 2 of TLC's albums titled Crazy, Sexy, Cool, and of course 3D, which actually contained unreleased Left Eye material. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners how you got connected with those amazing women, and of course, what was it like just working in the studio with those ladies?
Well, it didn't go down exactly like that. I was at Dark. You know, we was doing a Cocktails album. I did the Cocktails album at Dark Studios at Dallas Office Studios, and so you know everybody would come through there. I would meet everybody. I met Madonna, Wanye from Boyz II Men, and we become cool. And he used to love my guitar playing. He like, Shorty, be you playing the shit out of that guitar? But I used to meet so many people at Dark. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like one day I was in the studio. And a guy named Arnold Johnson, who actually had got the gig to do the song, right? He came over to the studio I was in. He said, Shorty B. He said, man, I said, what's up, Arnold? He said, man, check this out, man. He said, come over here. Let me let you hear something. I'm like, boom, I'll let you hear that. When he let me hear it, I didn't know it was for TLC at the moment. And after he told me, he said, yeah, man, I don't know where to go with this. I'm trying to put something together for TLC. I like, okay, let me go get my guitar or bass or something, and we see what we can do. And I did, what song was that? Let's Take Our Time off the Crazy, Sexy, Cool album, song number 13. Me and Arnold did that one. And then, believe it or not, I did song number 13 on a 3D album with Organized Noise. I did a song called Give It To Me While It's Hot. And I kind of think somebody ganked me on that. It's between LaFace and Organized Noise on that one because I never did get my publishing. I filled out the writer's split sheet and everything, but never did get paid for that song. So that was kind of faulty with that one. But I did the Give It To Me While It's Hot. Sleepy Brown wrote the hook. Mm-hmm.
And also as well, I actually saw that you were the song that you actually did alongside Too Short titled In the Trunk is actually on the 2018 Marvel iconic movie. I'm going to call it iconic because at the end of the day, I remember
Black Panther, yeah,
Black Panther.
yeah.
Everybody wanted a Black Panther movie for years, and I have to ask, like, did you know that that song was going to be on that soundtrack? And of course, how does it feel to actually know that you are a part of one of the biggest soundtracks, probably within the past decade?
Let me tell you how I found out. I was in North Carolina. I was playing with a gospel band for this church called Turning Point with Reverend Roy Swan. And one night, the keyboard player is blowing my phone up, and it's about 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, Lenny, that ain't like Lenny. Lenny probably used to be asleep by this time. So I answer the phone. Lenny say, look, man, I just left the Black Panther movie, and I see your name in the credits. Luckily, I knew your government name, and I knew something about your past. He said, but I saw you and Too Short names in the movie. They said the first, as soon as the movie credit, music credit comes on, y'all names is the first two names. So I didn't pay it no mind. I said, okay, somebody got the same name as I. And then I started getting all these texts like, congratulations. I got the hiccup. Congratulations. And I'm like, I'm in my mind like, for what? You know what I'm saying? So Lenny told me that, and the next day I went to see it for myself, and I'm sitting in the movie theater, and as the movie goes off, as soon as the credits start rolling, the music credits roll up, and the first name I see is my name. I say, so I was with this girl. She said, "There's your name right there." And everybody in the movie theater said, "That's your name? You're in the movie?" I'm like, yeah. They start clapping and shit, man. It was the weirdest feeling in the world, man. They gave me a standing ovation in the movie theater just because my name was in the credits. I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I gotta say, a lot of Marvel fans, you know what I mean. When something like that goes down, you know, they're pretty supportive individuals, man. I gotta say, congratulations on that as well, man. It must have been a really cool feeling to be in the theater and just after all these years, you know, you're still seeing your name on motion picture movies.
Right. Well, yeah, I've done quite a few of them now. And the same thing happened with the Cardi B song, 2019, the biggest song of 2019 with Cardi B. I got a song with Cardi B called "Backing It Up" with a Partisan Fontaine, and I got publishing on that, and it's the biggest song of 2019. I think she got 3 billion hits on her Facebook page or something. It was crazy. So now my phone blowing up again. Congratulations. Then ASCAP contacted me. He said, we got an award for you, and you know what I'm saying? So I knew it was serious then, yeah. But yeah, there's twice that I had nothing to do with it, but had everything to do with it.
And also, as well, aside from the music, you actually have your own clothing line out called Real Legend Wear. And I, as you already know, we have each other on Facebook, so I was seeing a lot of the amazing merchandise that you do have available. But for the listeners that haven't saw those posts, I was wondering if you could actually tell them what you do have, and of course, how can our listeners actually snag themselves some Shorty B merch today?
Okay, what you do, man? We just I think it's been a week now, so I'm just putting these clothes out. I'm about to premiere some more clothes. I got baby clothes and women's clothes, women's wear, you know. But my concept for Real Legend Wear was that you have to been in the game over 20 years, and you have to have made some sort of noise. You know, that you have to be respected and loved by the people. And in other words, you can't wear these logos. But I just talked to DOC the other day, and I just put a package together for him, which I'm about to send out any day now. And I'm try to give, everybody who's, no matter what you do, I don't care if you're a trash man or whatever, if you've been in your game over 20 years and you respect it for doing what you do, then reallegendwear.com is for you.
But I have to ask, Shorty, what is next for you? Because I do know you're always keeping busy. You're always working on projects. Is there anything we happen to miss during this broadcast? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on the FM Dial this evening.
You know something, man? Like, at this stage right now, it's like I have so much music, man. I'm such a loner. You know what I'm saying? But I have so much music. And since the pandemic kicked in, I was living in Florida, and I messed around and got stuck in D.C., because my lady friend got in a situation, so we ended up in D.C. But I'm really looking at some property. I'm trying to buy me a couple of acres somewhere. I'm really thinking about going back to Florida, set my little studio up. But what I would really, what's really kind of been calling me, man, I really want to put a band together. Shorty being the MVP. I want to play all my hit songs, all the songs I've done, and you know, even a few others. But I just I feel like I want to play now. I want to play live. I haven't done it in a while. You know what I'm saying? My plan is really good right now. My chops is up. I'm chopping them really crazy right now. And I talked to Mike Hampton. He's even interested in going out and doing something with me. But he just hooked back up with George Clinton. He was off the scale. He was off the Richter scale for about a year or so ago. He took a little vacation off of that, but he's back with them now. So that's what I really would like to do, man. Record, put some of this music out that I have. I have great music. I'm looking at what I'm working now. What I'm really concentrating on is the real legendwear.com, my clothing line, and my NFT. I've signed with a NFT fan, Jason Swanson and Anthony Tony Ray Edwards, and they're doing my NFT, and it looks really beautiful, man. And I'm praying that that works out for me, and I'm able to help somebody again. I really kind of got tired of helping people because I made a lot of people rich, and a lot of people were selfish, and don't really do nothing to help anybody. So I didn't want to do that anymore. Help a lot of selfish folks, get rich. But I do want to help people. People calling me and asking me for music, even old guys. I'm like, what you gonna do? What I'm saying? I mean, it's like, get you a younger artist right now. That shit might have sold for you. You know what I'm saying? I know you still feel like you got it, but come on, guys. You're trying to be an artist, and you're 50 years old, and it never really cracked for you that way. So I be trying, I go through a lot of that. People call me for beats and music and stuff, and I be wanting to help, but sometimes I know in my heart that it most likely could be a waste of time, and that's time that I don't have.
And also, Shorty, this is the time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just like a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, but most of all, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything you got going on if they're not already doing so.
Right. Well, my email is therealshortyb@gmail.com. You definitely contact me through there. And it's time for me to come out from under this rock. I'm I'm such a recluse, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm so reticent. You know what I'm saying? But it's like because this business is kind of let's see, what's the word? It kind of stagnated me a little bit because I got to looking at people for who they really were, and it's like like the richer people around me got, the faker they got. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of threw me off for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm back now. I'm ready to go hard. I got tons of hits. And maybe catch me, the right artist. But I am working with a female named Linnea Songbird. She's like a Tina Marie, and we're working on some music right now. So you might hear some stuff from her and myself in the very, very near future. I'm actually mixing the song right now, and but I got a lot of things in plan. But I definitely would keep you posted, DJ.
Hey, most definitely. When everything does come out as well, don't hesitate to send it off to me, and I'll make sure I give it some heavy Canadian airplay.
Beautiful, big dog, and yeah, I make sure you got my number. Just keep in touch with me so I can keep you posted on everything that's going down firsthand. You know what I'm saying? I got big respect that you reached out for your boy, and I'm gonna do the same.
And I gotta say first and foremost, Shorty, before we part ways, man, I gotta say first and foremost, thank you for all the amazing projects that you actually helped produce. I know tonight we only touch base not even on 1% of your amazing career, but I know, and I'm pretty sure you know as well, if we were to talk about every single project, we'd honestly be here right all night long, right into the early morning hours.
The sunrise, yeah, no doubt.
But I gotta say, first and foremost, for all those amazing projects, if it wasn't for your individuals like yourself, the producer, the writer, we wouldn't have projects like that all of us had the opportunity to enjoy for so many years. So, from the bottom of my heart, man, thank you so much for everything you did for music.
Man, thank you so much, man, for just recognizing me. And that moments like these what keeps me going. It makes me want to keep going. When people say things to you like that, and especially when it's people that you don't even know that tell you they appreciate, what you've done in your music. That kind of keeps me going.
And I gotta say, I'm glad I can actually bring that to you, man. But I'm definitely looking forward to what comes next, because I do know you got a lot of great stuff coming, so I'm definitely excited. But I gotta say, for now, Shorty, thank you so much, man.
I got songs with Future that people never heard. I got songs with Mac Boney. I did songs with Sugar Free. I got songs with everybody, man, that people never heard. So just keep your ear close to me, and I'll be putting some of this stuff out soon.
Hey, most definitely. It sounds like a plan. I'm pretty sure our listeners are definitely excited for those future projects as well. But I gotta say, Shorty, thank you so much, man, and definitely have yourself a wonderful night, man. We definitely shall talk soon.
Hey, DJ, I need a manager. Put that on the airways, man. Somebody contact me who can I got a little too big for me, so who could actually be conducive to what I'm doing. Have them get in touch with me. TheRealShortyB@gmail.com.
Hey, you already know. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. If you think you got what it takes, shoot him an email. You never know.
Never know.
But I gotta say, Shorty, thank you so much again, man, for your time this evening, and definitely have yourself a wonderful night, man. I'm definitely sure we shall talk soon.
Thank you, man. God bless, man. I want to send a shout out to the Dangerous crew and everybody else who stuck by. I want to thank all you guys. Thank you, DJ Immortal, and I appreciate you, man.
You are most certainly welcome. I appreciate you as well, Shorty. Thank you so much, and again, have yourself a wonderful night, man.
God bless.